Well, here we are. So I said to myself, what I see is this. The big sign companies, mainly one, which was the biggest single sign company in the United States, which is owned by Minnesota Mining and Manufacturer. 3M owns it, one of the richest companies in the history of America, called National Advertising. They're in every single state in the Union. They condemned me for what I did. Condemned me. They even threatened me. Those guys, it's war. It wasn't war with Jack Francis. It was be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. The friends thou hast in thy adoption tried, grapple them to thy soul with hoops of steel. That was Jack Francis. These guys are bad guys. And that's how I envisioned it, because I knew that they were. So they are now starting to spread bad things about me, and they had the money, they had the lobbyists in Washington, thick as you can imagine. They had access to the President of the United States. This is big stuff now. But the little sign companies in Utah, gosh, Doug, why didn't we do what you did? It was too late. They'd already rebuilt their signs. State can't do anything about that. So they can't collect on their 60 signs that they moved. Gosh, Doug. So I said, you guys, why don't we come together? Why don't we form a little coalition between you and me? Well, Doug, you know more than we do. You got more ability than we have. And you can think better than we can think, basically, on this issue. And we admit your signs are better than ours. Would you be the mouthpiece? And I said, gentlemen, it would be an honor. And I'll represent you to the same degree as I will represent myself. So we'll come together, because together we got something. Together we got something. I've quoted to you Emerson. All are needed by each one. All are needed by each one. Nothing is fair or good alone. I yielded myself to the perfect whole. The perfect whole is to take these sign companies with me at the head and yield ourselves to the perfect whole of the state of Utah's highway department. And I'll make sure that you're not taken advantage of. So I go up to Henry Helland and I say, Mr. Helland, you have in Jack Francis 1 in a million, because I'm no better than he is. Wouldn't this be amazing for the state of Utah to come forth and appraise every sign of every sign owner in the state? So that they now know where they stand. And of course you're going to do it on the basis of not paying for it, but they got an appraisal. They can at least deal with their banks. They can at least know where they stand if and when the beautification bill is passed. Now everybody tells me that knows anything about it, it will never pass. In a million years it's not going to pass. But least you give them some comfort. And he says, you know, Mr. Snarr, you're really something. You keep coming up with all these ideas. And I said, but here's the real idea. That if and when the sign comes down, how are you going to remove those signs, Mr. Helland? They have a lease on that land. Now you have to get a right to take your trucks and get onto that land to take down those signs. That's going to cost you a lot of money. Now you know doggone well, if you take down the signs, you're going to have 2 trucks and 5 men, or 4 men. But if the sign company takes down the signs, it'll have 1 truck and 2 men. So what if we do this? If you do that, then we agree, all of us together, because me talking to you is the same as talking to each one of them individually. So you can talk to each one of those sign companies just by talking to me, because I have been chosen by them to be their spokesman. Now I got power. Power is a misunderstood word. There's 2 ways you get power. One is it's bestowed upon you by election or something, whatever it might be, bestowed. And the other way is it's assumed. Now, what I've done is a combination, but mainly assumed the power. You assume it. I've been in meetings with people who have already had the power bestowed upon them that didn't have the power. And someone else sitting next to them or in the meeting, they had the power. Though they didn't have the title, they had the power because they had a stronger personality and were smarter. So everybody turned to the guy that's assumed, and therefore they're in a position to assume the power, which they do. That's the big time stuff here now. So I said, what we'll do, we will pay to remove our signs because we will remove them ourselves. So it is business coming together with government and working out these details between us where it's win-win, Mr. Helland. Can you tell me another place where this has ever happened? He says, I can't even believe what I'm hearing. I says, well, there's always the first time for everything, Mr. Helland. And wouldn't it be wonderful if it happened in Utah? Can you imagine the favorable press that Utah will get in time over this? That Utah has actually done something where they have friends with an enemy, and now they have come together, and it's now win-win. I recommend we do this. Let me think about it. Calls Vernon Romney, Attorney General, what do you think? Vernon Romney says, I think it's brilliant. Plugs in the governor. What do you think about this? I think it's brilliant. He goes to the road commission. What do you think about it? They go, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that. There's got to be a catch somewhere along the way here. You know, these guys, these road commission guys, they come from various parts of the state, so the state is entirely represented, and a lot of them are, you know, just not quite in that, not quite nimble enough. I think nimble is a good word. They didn't say no, by the way. They didn't say yes. But Helen says, I'm going to figure out how to get this done. So I said, what I need is more leverage. I want to talk to a senator. Well, I got a Republican, I got a Democrat governor. Mr. Helen is a Democrat. The road commission's made up with the Democrats in control of the road commission. I'm a Republican. Well, Doug, one thing you're going to do is keep politics out of it and keep your mouth shut, what you are. So it doesn't make any difference. We're not talking about that. We're not going to make this some Democrat-Republican issue. We do know that the Highway Beautification Act came about through a gift from Lyndon Baines Johnson, a Democrat president, to his wife, Lady Bird Johnson, and passed Congress just like that without any real thought. And it went bang like that.